Donald Trump has survived multiple investigations by following this playbook, blasting them by calling them witch hunts and refusing to testify under oath. Now, his strategy has backfired last week as as a New York State judge ordered him and his two ugly ass kids to sit for a deposition within 21 days. Basically, it's like 3 weeks. It's not unusual for people who are under investigation to face battles on multiple fronts, whether they be civil or criminal. Um, when um, when Renato Mariotti was a federal prosecutor investigating complex financial crimes, he would often investigate people who were also under investigation by civil authorities like the Securities and Exchange Commission. But he in a private practice, he represented people who had faced criminal indictments and civil cases brought by regulators at the same time. The Trump Organization basically has been under investigation jointly by the New York Attorney General Letitia James and the Office of the Manhattan District Attorney for, in James's words, allegedly using fraudulent or misleading evaluations on the real estate to get loans and tax benefits. Letitia James had issued subpoenas in December for Trump and his daughter, wife Ivanka, and his ugly ass son, Don Jr., to give depositions in her civil investigation. Now, Trump is not acting like someone usually does when they're in that situation. Anyone facing a criminal investigation can exercise their Fifth Amendment right not to answer any questions, and it won't be held against them or even related to the jury. But now, in a civil case, the judge can tell the jury to draw an adverse inference that your answers would have been harmful to you anyway. So the priority for anyone facing parallel criminal and civil investigations is to make sure the civil investigation is delayed until after the criminal case is wrapped up. Now, obviously, that's easier said than done, but judges will usually grant a stay that pauses the civil case if it looks like the criminal case is likely to result in an indictment for the defendant, because no one but the prosecutors themselves know exactly what they're up to. A savvy defense attorneys usually make it seem like a criminal indictment is on the horizon, and might make a client's situation seem more dire, but it's textbook legal strategy in a situation like this. It's not as hard as you would think it is, even in this case. After all, the Trump Organization's chief financial officer, Alan Weisselberg, is under indictment. Trump's legal team could have weaved together what they call facts, some known by the public but many not known, such as requests for interviews or subpoenas for documents. And this suggested that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office was working towards a criminal indictment of Trump for the same subject matter under investigation by Letitia James. But they didn't go that route. Maybe it was Trump's ego or his insistence that his lawyers make the question of the deposition a political battle rather than a legal one. Now, while Trump's attorneys argued that Letitia James was using this civil investigation to develop evidence that could be used against Trump in a criminal case, they downplayed his potential criminal liability. Now, Alan Futuris, who's a lawyer for Trump's daughter, wife Ivanka, and the ugly ass kid Don Jr., said during the court hearing that he had no reason to believe that either of the Trump children are either of the Trump children are targets of the district attorney's criminal investigation. um, Elena Haba, who's an attorney for Trump, spent much of her time arguing that Letitia James was pursuing a vendetta against Donald Trump and his family to take him down for her own political gain, but that's not the case. That narrative might play well on Faux or Twitter, but it's not surprising that this approach did not persuade a judge who undoubtedly has come across parallel criminal and civil investigations throughout his career. Now, Trump's lawyers might argue that Letitia James was doing something outside the box by moving forward with a civil investigation of potential fraud while criminal probe was underway. But as long as there is a proper basis for the civil investigation, the judge's role is to weigh the potential of impairing the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights against the harm that's caused by the civil investigation. Now, making it sound like Trump wasn't going to face an indictment anytime soon, Trump's team made this balancing act easy for the judge. If no indictment is forthcoming, the Fifth Amendment issue is more remote. A judge won't impose significant delays in a civil case based on a speculation about a criminal case. Otherwise, every civil case in this context will be delayed indefinitely. Now, for Letitia James to not have investigated the original respondents not to have subpoenaed the new Trump respondents, it would have been a blatant derelict of duty and it would have broken an often repeated campaign promise that Judge Arthur Engoron wrote. Indeed, the impetus for the investigation was not personal animus, not racial or ethnic or other discrimination, and not campaign promises, but was sworn congressional testimony by the former Trump associate Michael Cohen that respondents were cooking the books. Now, Trump is between a rock and a hard place. If he sits for this deposition and answers questions under oath, his words can and will be used against him by the Manhattan DA and potentially other criminal prosecutors. But if he decides to take the fifth, that can be used against him in the civil case because the judge can instruct the jury to draw an adverse inference against him. Now, Trump can appeal the judge's ruling, but unless he changes his strategy, the appeal is likely to change the predicament that he's in. If Trump is willing to make it seem like he was that he is trying to make if Trump is willing to make it seem like he has significant criminal liability, and then this indictment is likely, this could change things. But there's no reason to believe that it will. Now all signs suggest that Trump, his ugly ass son, and his daughter wife will take the fifth and blame James for having to do so, and that might save face for them now, but in the long run it will hurt their position if her investigation results in a civil case against them, and right now it looks like that is a very distinct possibility. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King, and you can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you want to support my work even further, you can I have a link to Patreon which you can donate to Patreon on my which you can find on my About section for the YouTube part. And I hope you guys enjoyed.